You sound like you're an AI
Hunter.
generated
Listen,
from looking
Hunter.
at a 4chan poll board
Listen,
and
Hunter,
trying to
I
insult
think
me
that
right now.
this is all that needs to be said. And we can do another debate in the future. I mean, we could do plenty of debates if you wanted.
You're like coping
the point is,
so
though,
bad. This isn't a debate.
you
This is
are
you coping.
you are pro-trans, you're pro-vaccine, and you said to me that if the government said it was okay, you would give a vaccine. You would give
I
the COVID
deliberately
vaccine
said
to
the
your
opposite
2-
of
and
that.
3-year-old.
I deliberately said the
If
opposite
your
of that.
2- and 3-year-old said, "I think I'm the opposite gender," would you immediately say, "I think they're trans"?
I think part of the problem that you're having here might be that you are incapable of listening. Okay, cool. So yeah, all I saw is somebody in chat say that you said that I suck at debating or something and you wanted to talk about it. So what's up?
Well, I just had one question for you, and we could set up something later, like with topics or whatever. But so I know you're very pro-vaccine, and you've debated a lot of like anti-vax people and people that are skeptical about the vaccine. And I just want to ask you like one thing, and it's kind of a personal question, but I think it's
Okay, wait,
necessary
are
when
you
you're
gonna,
like,
you're not gonna violate TOS, correct?
no.
Okay, because I feel like you're headed toward. Sometimes people say,
No,
like, "I just want to ask you one thing,
like, I would
N-word
have
or
just
some
done
bullshit."
that already.
Okay, I got you.
I won't pull any Beardsons right now.
Okay.
But my question for you is like, you're so pro-vaccine, and I know you have two young children. Would you vaccinate your 2 young kids?
My kids are already vaccinated. Babies are vaccinated like right when they're born. Some of them.
You
like
know what I
certain
mean,
vaccines.
the COVID vaccine. I'm not talking about the basic vaccines that everyone gets that no one has a problem with.
Would I get them the COVID vaccine if it were approved, if it were tested and proven to be safe and effective for children of their age? Then yes, of course.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that's all that really needs to be said. That's just like so bizarre.
But why?
Do you really think the COVID vaccine is like the same thing as like a polio vaccine?
No, it's better. That's the thing is you're saying like, yeah, of course we all get the kids the regular vaccines. Those are only quote unquote regular vaccines because they're not being hyper politicized.
Well, no, because those are usually, if you're giving a kid a vaccine like the polio vaccine, that's a vaccine that even people that are skeptical of vaccines would give to a child, because obviously you get rid of polio when you give a vaccine like that, and it's proven, and it's like my issue with this COVID vaccine, and being so pro vaccine, is it's an unnecessary vaccine. It's like the flu vaccine. I haven't gotten a flu shot basically in like 10 years.
Okay, but
And
you realize like
I don't
kids
think
get new,
people
kids
should
get
be
new
forced
flu shots every year
to get a
too?
flu shot when it's just not a necessary vaccine.
Okay, that's fine if that's how you feel, but again, it's where is it necessary that kids as young as my kids, 2 years old and 3 years old, are getting vaccines? That I don't think that's necessary or forced, is it? Maybe to go to school? And I should have been more clear. Sorry, the COVID vaccine specifically. I don't think anybody's forcing kids that young to get the vaccine. I think it's just like available.
Well, yeah, I mean, not yet, and that's kind of the point of my question. It's like, do you really think it would be necessary if the government said, you know what, you can vaccinate a 2-year-old, give them the COVID vaccine, it's fine. Do you really think that would be a smart thing to do? Do you think that's a necessary thing?
Well, it wouldn't be the government just saying it's fine. There would be evidence to suggest that the vaccine is safe and effective. So I would hope to see clinical trials where the vaccine was given to children already, who were then tested and examined and followed up with, and then it was concluded that the vaccine was safe for those ages. It would not be satisfying to me if the government just said, hey, the vaccines are fine, yo. Second of all, when you say like, not yet, they're not being forced yet, we're literally moving in the opposite direction. People are starting to drop the vaccine requirements, partially because COVID is dying down because of people getting vaccinated. So It might, even if you were going to argue that it's not necessary, you could even be right that at this point it might not be necessary. But the reason it wouldn't be necessary is, again, thanks to the vaccines, and especially when COVID was at its peak, then yes, I would absolutely get my kids the vaccine if it was available for them and proven to be safe and effective. Because even though the virus might not kill them, it can still cause them, or they could still get the virus, which could cause complications for them, or they could spread it to people who are more at risk, like their grandparents.
I mean, I just don't see the reason why you would give a COVID vaccine to a really young kid. I mean, that's really not something that happens. I mean,
What do you mean?
the
Kids don't
people
get
that are at
COVID?
risk are older people or people that actually have underlying issues.
Yes, do you
A
think that those
child,
children who are 2 or 3 years old have any contact with people that might be of higher risk?
I mean, I guess, but if you think they're sick, you wouldn't bring them around someone who
Yeah,
you
but we
think
all know that
might be at
COVID,
risk.
again, during its peak and during the Delta and whatnot, I'm not talking about like right now because I know things have died down and things are changing, but at the time, people could be spreading it while being asymptomatic. And that was another reason why COVID was more serious than the flu, is that you had more, you could be contagious for a longer period of time.
I mean, that's up for debate, really, because I mean, you could have the flu or any other illness, and I mean, I don't really agree with that. I think generally, I don't know why the pro vaccine thing is your like one of your main things. I don't know why that would be something that you are just so like passionate about. It's like really
Because
like
it's
you're
important.
basically a fedora atheist that is pro vaccine and will believe anything if there's a study attached, even if the
No, you're
study
you're
is
doing the same
is
cope that
fucked up.
everybody else does. Just hold on a second. So this comes from mercy1.org. I don't know what this institution is, but it's not from the CDC. So I purposely am looking for one that is not government, okay? And it gives you how long time you are contagious before symptoms start. COVID is 1 to 2 days. Flu is, oh, they're saying you're actually more contagious with the flu for longer, 1 to 4 days. But you are contagious, I believe, yes. When you get symptoms, you're far more contagious for far longer than you would be with the flu. I'm glad I looked this up though, so I was giving correct information.
Do you realize how gullible that makes you sound? That when someone says something that you might not agree with, you Google and you find the first result
I didn't
that
find the first
agrees with
result.
you,
Wait, wait,
and
wait.
then you just read a
The
paragraph.
first
I mean,
result
that
didn't even
you
agree
realize how
with me. You
retarded that
realize that
makes
I
you look,
said, hold
right?
on, stop. You realize I said that people can be asymptomatic and contagious for longer than the flu, right? But then I looked this up and I was wrong about it. Carissa, can you hold on? I gotta close the door. Sorry, that's my wife getting ice out there. You realize I looked up, first of all, I didn't look up the first source. Okay, the top result was the CDC. So I purposely avoided that one for you. And then I pulled up this thing, and it literally proved me wrong. I was wrong. I thought that you were asymptomatic and contagious for longer than you were with the flu. I was wrong. You are contagious longer once symptoms start, but I was incorrect before when I said that you are contagious while being asymptomatic for longer periods than the flu. So it's not even the first source that just agrees with me. I am reading the source, and that's why I'm fucking correcting myself if I got something wrong or said something that was incorrect.
Well, I can say that that's a good thing. That when you're not sure about something, you look into it, and you get the facts, and you correct yourself. But it seems like you only do that, for certain things. But if I were to say to you,
Uh huh.
and I'm not trying to break TOS, so you can cut me off if
Just don't use any
you know.
slurs, please.
Oh, no, no slurs at all. But if I said to you, do you think that 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust? Would you look into that and look up studies and look up all this info and try to figure out the truth about that? Or would you just say, that's anti Semitic? Of course it was 6 million.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't say it was anti Semitic if you just asked me that question and if it was asked in good faith and in a context that didn't give me, red flags. Second of all, there's a huge difference between a historical thing that took place and a current vaccine that you can read scientific literature about. You don't read a scientific study that says, the abstract has concluded due to the control study that the Holocaust happened, or that 6 million died. That's bullshit.
There are studies.
Hold on, stop. This is you're comparing a historical.
We don't have to really get into that.
Yeah, because you're comparing a historical event to a brand new thing that is just happening here with the COVID vaccine.
That actually reminds me. And we'll go back to the vaccines.
I hope so.
Are you aware that the vaccines have killed like tens of millions of people worldwide?
Which vaccines?
The COVID vaccines.
Where is your evidence of this?
I actually saw a study. I don't know where it was, but it was this doctor that basically took he took the numbers that were official, and then he went to the European numbers, and even though the European numbers, basically there's almost no reporting, he did some sort of mathematical basically guesstimate about the numbers, and found that it was literally like tens of millions, maybe even like 100 million people have died.
Can you give me
how did he come to vaccines?
Really? He found that they died directly because the COVID vaccine. Where the fuck are you reading this, please?
Well, I know that you like to dismiss VAERS, but if you look up VAERS, the numbers there, oh, sorry about that, that was my other phone, are pretty high, and those are even underreported.
You realize that
VAERS,
the reason I quote-unquote dismiss VAERS is because anybody can submit things, right?
Well, yeah, anybody can say that, I got injured by the vaccine, or this person died because, of vaccine complications. But do you think that, like, hundreds of thousands of people are just making that up? Or do you think that some of them probably are true?
There's already been studies where they've actually looked at VAERS, and they've gauged the more severe reports, and they've looked into it, and they concluded that there were only a very, very tiny amount of negative side effects that occurred.
So who said that? Was it the companies that make the vaccine?
I don't believe so. I'm trying to find this in my notes. Let me see if I can see.
I don't understand.
Hold on,
why.
wait. I don't want you to just say something, and then while I'm trying to find the source, then you just go on to saying the next thing. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can find this. Okay, well, this was funded by the CDC, so you might say that doesn't matter, or you might dismiss this.
Look, the CDC is,
But this was a study done. It was funded by the CDC, but it was a study done by the Lancet. So, in this observational study, we analyzed data reported to VAERS during December 14th, 2020 to June 14th, 2021. VAERS reports were categorized as non-serious, serious, or death. Reporting rates were calculated using numbers of COVID-19 doses administered as the denominator. Safety data from more than 298 million doses of mRNA COVID-19 vaccine administered in the first 6 months of the U.S. vaccination program show that the most reported adverse events were mild and short in duration. So, even if you want to talk about VAERS, we can look at VAERS reports that have actually been studied and accounted for the fact that anybody can just submit a report there. They looked at the first 6 months, and the negative side effects reported were almost all mild and short in duration. There were a couple that were serious. There were some, let's see.
Yeah, only a couple were serious.
If you want to start getting only a couple of this, that, and the other thing, then why don't you look at the numbers of people that have fucking died from COVID, or people that weren't vaccinated and wish that they were once they're on their deathbed? But anyway, it looks like 1 to 3% were deaths, or 1.3%.
And if you look at the numbers compared to the flu, compared to other things, it's almost the same, or it's less.
No, it's not. You realize that the life expectancy, at least in 2020 through 2021,
it was spreading more easily.
You realize that the life expectancy,
it was the same as the flu.
No. You're wrong. You realize that the life expectancy in America dropped for a little while during 2020 through 2021 because of COVID. We don't lose nearly 1 million people every year to the flu. We lost over 1 million people to COVID-19. You cannot be serious right now.
Well, actually, that brings up another point. You say they say it was because of COVID-19. I mean, are you aware that? And I know this firsthand because I know multiple people who work in multiple hospitals. They listed COVID as the cause of death for almost everything when they couldn't.
Yeah, this is
they put a
numbers.
definitive cause of death. You know that, right?
They faked the numbers. I know. I've heard it a
Well,
million
no,
times.
I'm not saying they faked all the numbers. A lot of people died from COVID, but
no, what it is that it's complicated and difficult.
Really not accurate. Just like you think the VAERS numbers are over-exaggerated, the COVID death numbers are also over-exaggerated.
That's great, and you're also wrong. So again, what was being accounted for was, yes, they don't always know the specific and direct cause of death. Usually the question to ask is, would this person still be alive had they not gotten COVID? And in that case, then yes, you would list COVID. You can also list COVID that they died with COVID, not necessarily from COVID. So for example, if I say somebody died because he got shot, are you going to say, well, no, it's actually because his heart stopped beating? Like, okay, would his heart have stopped beating if he did not get COVID? If the answer is yeah, or if he had not been shot, then if the answer is yes, then he died because he was shot. That's the cause of death. So this has already been explained why these numbers sometimes can look suspicious to people that don't understand what they're reading or what they're talking about. And it's because the way in which you account for the literal cause of death can be tricky and difficult and also unpredictable. Like my grandpa, for example, died from COVID, but it wasn't just COVID. He had pneumonia, and then he got COVID, and so the COVID worsened everything and basically made it so that he couldn't recover, and then he died.
Okay.
So was it COVID or was it pneumonia? Would he still be alive had it not been COVID? These are the questions that can be difficult to answer.
Pneumonia, depending on how old he was. The COVID might have not mattered. At the same time, it could have been he got COVID, and that's what killed him. You
but
don't
if
know.
the COVID has complicated things and made it worse, and then he dies.
If somebody goes to the emergency room, brutal car accident, and they end up dying, and then they find out, you know what, they were positive for COVID, and they don't list that as with COVID, because again, that happens as well. It's like, they happen to be positive after they got shot, and it's like, well, obviously the COVID wasn't the reason.
Do you think that they would list that as the reason for death?
They said they died from COVID because they were positive for COVID, even though they were in some sort of brutal accident or it was some sort of other underlying illness.
No, they don't do that. They might list that they had COVID upon death, but they would not list cause of death COVID because they got in a car accident and then had COVID.
I mean, they probably have it. Would you? I think the statistical probability is that has happened at least a few times, right? Because I know you're all about statistics.
Maybe, but that doesn't mean that the numbers are then wrong across the board.
Well, let me say this, and I think that this is the final thing. We talk about numbers and statistics and studies, and it's all about studies and reading a study and finding a study. I want to ask you this, Hunter. Are you aware that blacks commit the majority of violent crime in this country?
What does this have to do with the vaccine?
Do you agree with those numbers? Those are numbers straight from the FBI and from all these different agencies.
Wait, first of all, I know you've watched none of my content. You know what? You got me, dude. You're triggering me. I'm soy boy. How dare you say that? How racist of you. Is that what you think I'm going to say?
I'm saying, if you're
Is that
all
what you
about
expect
numbers,
me to respond to?
then wouldn't it go across the board? Would you acknowledge that, or are you not going to acknowledge that?
I acknowledge it all the time. Yes, of course there's disproportionate rates of criminality amongst the black community. Yeah, no shit. That's a statistic. Are you
fair enough? I mean,
I
actually
stupid right now?
Credit for actually admitting that.
No. This is what I don't understand. Is because
your liberal turn,
right? Because you have a dumb caricature.
I know that you probably think
no. You have a caricature.
Racism, though, right?
No, I don't actually. You have a caricature of me already built up in your head. So you say, Hunter, you're bad at debating, and then you come on here and you say nothing except posit conspiracy theories, which are disproven in 5 seconds.
Conspiracy
theories. And then
theories.
you try and get me in a corner by saying, "Did you know that blacks commit more crimes?"
We have to trust the experts.
No shit, dude.
We have to trust the government, right?
Wait, You brought up VAERS. That's a government thing. You trust the government too, and it's
not a
convenient
government
for
thing.
you.
That's people saying this is what happened.
The VAERS is part of the FDA. It's run by the government.
But it's individual reports. That's a little different.
Okay. It just sounds like you're
And
you're really totally fine with.
Really important. I mean, we could talk about that and debate that and go back and forth on that. What I'm trying to understand this, and it seems like, and again, I'm not trying to insult you, and I'm not trying to be a dick.
Only
but it seems like you were never really a bright guy, and when you were a conservative, you weren't the brightest. You kind of just went with like all the basic talking points. You kind of went with the flow.
Yep.
And now that you've decided to leave that and be this pro-trans, pro-vaccine, friends with Vosh and all these people, it seems like you just say all the same things, but now they're all left-wing. You say all the boilerplate basic things that you have to say.
You realize that you're not.
I just don't think you're a bright person.
Wait,
I think
you're
a
the one
fucking
who
idiot.
just came on here and said IDK about studies 'cause government, and then 1350, and you're saying I'm the one just regurgitating things? You sound like you're an AI
Hunter.
Generated from looking at a 4chan poll board.
Listen, Hunter,
and trying to insult
I think
me right
that
now.
this is all that needs to be said. And we can do another debate in the future. I mean, we could do plenty of debates if you wanted.
You're like coping
the point is,
so
though,
bad. This isn't a debate. This is you coping.
You are pro-trans, you're pro-vaccine, and you said to me that if the government said it was okay, you would give a vaccine. You would give the COVID vaccine. I
deliberately said the opposite of that. I deliberately said the opposite of that.
If your 2- and 3-year-old said, I think I'm the opposite gender, would you immediately say, I think they're trans?
I think part of the problem that you're having here might be that you are incapable of listening. Do you think that maybe that's causing a little bit of an issue for you?
Whoa, you got me there, Hunter.
Since you're not able to apparently hear what I'm saying? Do you maybe need to clean your ears out a little bit?
I'm not totally logic. I'm not all about logic. I'm not basically the Ben Shapiro of the left now.
Huh? What does that mean? Are you saying that you yourself are not all about logic? Because we could tell.
Logic and studies.
Are you being sarcastic right now, or are you just self-owning? I don't know.
You got me, Hunter. When you do that sarcastic voice, you've totally owned me. I bet you're gonna clip this for your Twitter, aren't you?
I don't know what. Wait. I'm not trying to totally own you. I'm trying to be clear on what you're.
Now you're pulling a Vosh. I know you learned that from Vosh. When someone says something, you go, "Wait, what? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're saying."
Ah, yes. You know what? Actually, props to where credit is due. That is something I learned from Vosh. I had no idea that Vosh himself had a monopoly on saying, "What are you talking about?"
You
My
and
bad.
that. What's that
I am
guy's
so. You
name?
know what,
guys?
I just want to.
Xanderhall guy. You and Xanderhall. You all use the same mannerisms and all the same talking points.
Yep.
You're literally.
I said, what are you talking about?
Nothing you say is original.
I know,
Whether
man.
it's the fedora atheism,
I had no idea that Vosh had a monopoly on the phrase,
stuff.
what are you talking about?
I can put on a stream of any of you, and it's the same exact things that you're saying.
It's funny that you say that, because by you saying that, you're actually demonstrating that you have no idea what you're talking about. Like, me and Vosh... you realize that me and Vosh disagree
Is that your response?
I'm not done responding. Me and Vosh disagree on several issues. He disagreed with my approach when it came to the debate that I had with Shuonhead last year. We disagreed about the CIA stuff. He disagrees with me about things like neogenders. We've disagreed and talked about our disagreements repeatedly. Just because I'm not, screaming that Vosh is a massive idiot doesn't mean that me and him agree with everything or are on the same page with politics. He's a fucking communist. I'm a social democrat. I am, professedly anti-communist. I think socialism is kind of dumb. And he is a socialist. And you're over here saying that I just parrot everything he says?
You think socialism is dumb, yet now you've aligned yourself with all the socialists. And
you're showing how terminally online you are again. No, there is a difference between social democrats on Twitter, for example, as opposed to literal fucking far lefties who LARP about the revolution, talk about communism, and think that they can identify as a vampire. Those are different factions of the left. And to you, you just think all left are like the radical soy boy Antifas.
I actually
you
don't.
have like a Fox News understanding of what it means to be quote unquote the left. You
disavow the far left. You say, these are all far left people. I don't agree with these far left people. When it comes to transgenderism, you're in agreement. You might
So?
not think, someone can be a cat or a dog or, use these weird pronouns, but on 95% of it, you completely agree.
Wait, so what? Yes, there are certain things I'm going to agree with people on. That doesn't mean we agree on everything or that I'm just regurgitating or parroting what I'm hearing from them. Like, I guarantee you that if I asked you enough questions, you would end up agreeing with something that I too would agree with, that we would find common ground on. That doesn't mean then that you're regurgitating what you're hearing from me. And plus, I don't really trust your assessment considering the fact that you think that Vosh has a monopoly on saying, what are you talking about?
No, I mean, be real, dude. All of the left basically copied Destiny, and now they all use the same mannerisms.
Vosh did copy Destiny. He said it himself. He's fine with admitting that.
Same mannerisms as Vosh in Destiny.
I don't watch Xanderhall. I don't know. I do my own streams.
You're just a true independent thinker.
I am, yeah.
And I think that's why you're so mad, because pro-trans, pro-vaccine,
the NPC is
breaking down. Atheist.
Yeah, your NPC. Let me ask you this. Your OS needs to be updated, man. The NPC is breaking down.
Let me ask you this. You've done entire streams, multiple streams about how Christianity is wrong and the Bible has all these, backwards things in it. When are you going to do one of those on Islam or Judaism or literally any other religion?
Well, I've already covered Judaism to an extent, not to a large extent, but to a degree.
Well,
I argued with a Jewish guy a couple months ago on biblical slavery because Jews follow part of the Old Testament, which I disagree with as well. So covering Christianity, and as long as I'm covering the Old Testament, is also covering certain aspects of Judaism. As far as Islam, I don't have as deep an understanding of that religion, primarily because I wasn't raised in that religion, and because Islam does not have nearly the same potential to cause real-life effects on people in this country. Christianity is obviously the predominant religion here in America, so
how many people have
Christian
terrorists killed in the past 10 years?
I don't know. There's not. We aren't.
Do you think we're measuring this more than Muslims?
Do you think that we're measuring this based on just who's committed a terrorist attack? Because if you want to talk about that, you realize
to harm in real life society.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think a terrorist attack is kind of like harmful to society?
Sure. Who do you think commits more terrorist attacks here in America? Do you think that they are white nationalist, white domestic terrorists, or do you think it's Muslims?
Are white nationalists Christians?
I didn't say they were. I'm asking you if you think.
Well, why do you bring up that?
Because you're trying to get a gotcha on me by asking me the question about Muslims, but the actual main
and praying to the Bible and blowing themselves up and shooting a bunch of people.
No.
While they say praise God, I love the Bible.
That's also not happening very frequently here in America.
Wait, what?
That's not happening extremely frequently here in America.
Well, yeah, I mean, terrorism attacks don't really happen that frequently.
Right,
but
so
when they do, is it Christians or Muslims more likely to do it?
Probably Muslims.
Yeah, I mean, why couldn't you just say that? We agree on that.
I literally just said that because I don't have a problem admitting that. The problem is that you're trying to get me into some kind of a corner, or that what you perceive to be a corner, by saying, who's committing more terrorist attacks, huh? Yeah, okay, I guess when we get like a terrorist attack here, like a foreign terrorist attack.
You said you think Christianity in America can do more
Yes, I'm trying to explain this. There's a lot of dumb shit you're saying at once that I'm not able to respond to.
I think harm is violence and terrorist attacks.
Who do you think commits the most terrorist attacks in America in general? You realize they're white men, right? Domestic terrorism is the top terrorists or cause of terrorism here in this country. It's usually white nationalists, right-wingers, and white men. So you even bringing up the Muslim thing is irrelevant.
Did white nationalists and right-wing and white people, did they burn down half the fucking country in 2020?
Nobody burned down half the fucking country, but you're burning down at least half of my brain cells right now because you're not even letting me respond to the other thing you just said.
You just owned me, Hunter.
So
you better clip
on top
that
of the
one.
fact that you
just owned me so good.
Okay. You also said that I said that Christians can do harm, and what does that mean? When I say harm, I'm not only talking about literally throwing a grenade into the candy shop, okay? I'm also talking about the ability to sway and motivate legislation, policy positions that affect Americans across the board. These are the types of influences that Christianity has and has the ability to enact harm. It's not just a terrorist attack, it's that Christianity does sway the Republican Party to enact certain policies and legislation that negatively impacts Americans. We see this repeatedly when we're talking about gay rights or with trans rights. This is why I always bring up the fact that it's American Muslims who are more accepting of gay people here in this country than white evangelical Christians. I bring this up all the time.
Misleading, because there may be progressive Muslims and there may be Muslims in certain cities and in certain areas, but Hunter, if you go to Dearborn, Michigan, or you go to that place in New Hampshire where they're sending a bunch of Muslims, I don't think they're very accepting of any of that.
No, they
where
wouldn't
they
be.
only speak Arabic and all the signs are in Arabic.
Wait, you're not listening again. I know. Wait, yes. First of all, I have literally made jokes about like Muslim committing terrorist attacks. Okay, so I'm not like afraid to acknowledge that. Yeah, of course. Muslims are also fucking stupid as so far as they believe in Allah and all this dumb shit with God. Yes, it's also a... Am I offline right now?
Oh, no, I can hear you now. You cut out for like a second.
Wait. Am I back online now, guys? Are you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah.
All right, yeah, you're
dropping
good.
Frames. I have no idea what happened there. Okay, people are saying I'm back now. I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I don't know what the fuck is going on. I just got my new Wi-Fi and it should be okay. People are saying it's fine now. Okay, so I'm perfectly fine acknowledging that there are plenty of Muslims who hold very stupid beliefs and backwards and bigoted beliefs when it comes to the issues of gay people, women, and so on. Two things about that, though, is that one, that is bad, but they don't have nearly as much possibility to influence legislation. So I'm not as worried about focusing all of my efforts on condemning that when there is a bigger fish to fry, I would say. And two...
Do you know what care is?
Two... Part of the self-own here on your part is that you realize that Muslims are very right-wing, right? When you bring up that Muslims are really homophobic or whatever, they're right-wing, and that's why that is. At least one of them, the reasons why. So you're not actually making any points. I feel like you're trying to just get me in a corner, and it's just not working. Like, I already have acknowledged that Muslims are bigoted.
Hunter, I'm not trying to get you in a corner. You get in a corner yourself when you watch your wife get fucked by black men.
All right, so you're the guy that said that I suck at debate? That was you?
I think you're a bit frazzled. I think you weren't expecting me to say that.
You're right, I wasn't.
Now you're going to feign ignorance. You're going to feign surprise.
It's honestly shocking to me. I'm shaking in my boots right now.
Oh, aren't you on like Adderall too, dude?
Man, you just seem like you're interested in bringing up all this random shit.
Why the fuck are you taking Adderall?
Whoa, holy shit. I'm getting so owned right now. First we go from your wife gets pegged by black guys, and now Hunter takes medicine. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, it's medicine.
You're ending me right now.
I will tell you this, Hunter, and I mean this for real. I'm not even trying to be a dick. I'm not even trying to get an own here. But you don't need to be taking Adderall.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Is it because you have anxiety or depression?
Can I ask you how you're coming to that conclusion, doctor? Surely you're not using any medical studies from the government, right, doctor?
Do you think Adderall is like a really necessary thing for most people that are on it?
I don't know. Thankfully, you're a doctor, though, so you can tell me, right?
Yeah, because doctors are always right.
I didn't say doctors are always right, but the fact that you're random chatter number 112, who one claimed I was bad at debate and then just came on here and did nothing but insult and allude to conspiracy, and two are now trying to grill me on the fact that I take medication, it shows that you're desperate. You have nothing here. You're just a sad, depraved little hater. Your daddy beat you too much when you were growing up, and now you're here doing nothing but whining constantly and trying to own me because I take medicine. Oh, right, and let's not forget also how Vosh has a monopoly on the phrase What are you talking about? I'll remember that one too, so I don't step on any more
Man, you
copyright
gotta
infringement.
listen, man. You gotta. I know. I think you stopped smoking weed, right?
I wish I hadn't stopped smoking weed, and you certainly make me want to
Oh,
smoke more
you
weed.
owned me, dude. I wish I hadn't. Oh my god. But I mean, listen, man. You shouldn't be taking Adderall,
Thank you.
and you shouldn't be listening to Jewish therapists, and you should just try to
You know what? Why
exercise
don't
and
you
maybe like
try
touch
and stop
grass.
being a fucking degenerate, and then maybe, just maybe, you'll actually go somewhere in your life. But for now, I'm gonna have to leave you in your basement. Honestly, I can smell the scent of like empty
Yeah,
Mountain
I
Dew
bet, dude.
cans
Am I a
and
neckbeard too?
desperation throughout the speaker,
I bet I'm
throughout
just
my
some
screen
fat
here. And
neckbeard, right? Am I an
are
incel
you trying to
too? You've
wait? You
totally
called
owned
me
me, man.
unironically a fedora atheist, so you called me the neckbeard first. So yeah, I don't know. It's just cute that you come on here and you're just all like, I just wanted to have a quick question, ooh woo, and now you end by going mask off, saying the Jewish therapist and whatnot. You're just a fucking loser, dude. I'm glad that you found some acceptance on 4chan, but yeah, you'll also find some
Oh, you own
acceptance
me,
at
dude.
therapy.
4chan?
You'll
Totally,
find some
man.
acceptance at therapy. It's really
Dude,
cool.
you suck. You
Bye bye. That guy was fun.